My name is Barbara and I work at Lighting Design Collective in Madrid as a lighting designer. And I first got interested in lighting through a fascination with light as a conductor of visual perception and how it can trigger human emotions. So I remember a specific time when I was studying architecture and I was visiting a museum, a contemporary art gallery, and I entered this dark space where there was a geometric object in the end, in the corner. But as I approached this object, I realized it was not an object but an opening, a sort of portal to an alternate space. It was a piece by James Turrell, of course, but it left a deep impression in me because I realized how perception is a construct, is an illusion, and light was the catalyst there, it was the main character of that moment. Then I finished architecture school and I started working in some architecture offices, but I was looking for a field to specialize in, so when I heard about lighting design and the master in lighting design, I enrolled.
My name is MAHDI'S Aliasgari. I started lighting design also after my studies in architecture back home in Iran. And I think my first fascination with light came from interactive design projects that a friend of mine introduced to me in my young years. And I think I got really interested and I saw that light is the amazing tool to do that. So I started to study lighting. And then after my studies in KTH, Sweden, I started to work in a pretty different field, design anthropology. And then I think I brought like that mixture into Lighting Design Collective where I work now. Well, I think what we do in Lighting Design Collective, as the name says, is a kind of interdisciplinary mix, I would say, as Tuppy would say, like an anti-disciplinary mix of things. So I think we challenge the definitions in lighting design and we try to put together this innovative perspective to different projects. So every project is a new journey, is a new challenge, and we try to have that perspective, I think, in every single one.
Yeah, so in the end we work in a wide range of projects. It can be a small thing like art wall for a private villa, or it could be a responsive media facade. We also work with some interactive elements for public spaces.
Yeah, so from a micro scale to a macro scale, I think we try to somehow apply all the different disciplines that us as a collective bring to LDC.
I believe our role is to help understand our clients what value can light bring into the project. And then depending on the specifics, it can be anything. For example, it could contribute to create a unique identity for a place, or we could use light as a branding tool and generate revenue. Sometimes we just want to improve the night presence of a building in a city.
It's about also like creating new sort of experiences for the end user. So I think it's really beautiful when it changes from an experience to a memory that can linger for years in a person's mind, and that's a very poetic matter. It's about the perceptions, alternative perceptions for the world we are living in.
I hope in the future we get a wider range of technologies to work with. Could be alternate light sources or new flexible control system to make lighting more dynamic. But our goal as designers would be to be an active part of this conversation, like where is technology going, so we can continue to use it in different projects to make the environment more beautiful, practical, inclusive for the people.
Yeah, I would say it's always very important to start with why we do what we want to do in every single context. Because, I mean, using technology for the sake of technology I mean, it's not, I think, what we want to do as designers. So it's good to challenge those definitions and try to apply them in a contextual and meaningful ways for the future. Maybe I mentioned like one of the projects that we are doing at LDC, and it's very techy. It's an EU 2020, it's very soon, Horizon founded project, and we are a partner, and we explore EC materials, like electrochromic materials. And it's going to be a smart system for active daylight control. So it's like beyond just having like a curtain or a smart window as we have them today, but it would have like content and sensing. So we are really excited to build a new tool for architects and lighting designers, hopefully not so far in the future. For me, it would be great if we have that budget to research about interactive projects, responsive projects, where we intend to create some sort of interaction between people and the piece, specifically in public realm. But we normally do that. We never know if it actually do or create that social fabric that we are after. So, especially in long-term projects, the client would not invest to see like if it really happens. So I would be really interested in exploring that.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Like we would need to send survey, not to the users.
Yeah, or do like participant observation, be there and see how people really use it.
We have to do that. Where's the money?
Let's do it.
I'm proud of this project we did for a facade. It's a hotel here in Madrid, and it was a collaboration with someone that came from another discipline. We had an intern that was studying interaction design. So he had never worked in the architecture or built environment, and he brought a totally different perspective.
Hi, Paul.
Hi. So it was fun because we created these concepts that were very contextual. They were totally tailored to this place. Also, they were inclusive for the end user. So we imagined we were a guest entering this hotel and checking in, and the light is totally responsive to that.
My project that I'm really proud of is actually a research project that I got to continue after 3 years, and it was because of the challenge, the competition within PLDC. It was the first year, 2015. And I got to build a prototype, which is a provocative prototype. So it's not only about the prototype, it's about like the things that it can hopefully provoke. It's called Core C, a core to be seen and to see. And also like the name comes from a traditional piece of very old piece of furniture in Iran, which has the same name, but I changed it a little bit. And the thing is a charging station for mobile phones, but it's an excuse to gather people around it, and hopefully they may be fascinated by light and movement and put away the phone. In return, it charges the phone, but maybe like it turns some strangers into familiar strangers. So the idea is to light connect people.
I find challenging how to turn abstract ideas into the built environment. So we need to work in coming up with attractive ideas, but ideas that can also survive to be real and to be technically detailed, to be functional, and to be within a budget. I find that a huge challenge.
Yeah, I don't know if I have already overcome this, but I'm trying to explore the ways to overcome, and that's like how to create a co-design platform in the very beginning of the project where we start for people with non-design and design background, including the client to somehow do the brainstorming together, that would help a lot with the friction that we have, like in the initial phase of a lot of projects, especially the ones that are more innovative or different, like the unique ones. So that would be really helpful to hopefully come up with good ideas and then to proceed with them without having to explain a lot, like why we do what we do. So everybody is on the same track. I think that there are people since the beginning in the architecture school, like the people who have inspired me, that friend who told me about like interactive design projects. And then like in the lighting design school, the whole team, especially Diana Jules, like her perspective on urban lighting, I learned a lot from her. And then the whole team there. And then here in Lighting Design Collective, I learn daily from all my colleagues and Tapio, so Victor, Barbara, everybody. And then in the outside world, I think there are a lot of inspirational designers that we can learn from.
I totally agree with MAHDI'S. Like when we are studying a subject, we usually think we are being influenced by the teacher, but very often we are also heavily influenced by our colleagues and our friends, the people we spend more time with or we work together. And that happened also to me in architecture school and in lighting design course and at work with you guys. There was also this teacher when I first started in lighting, Ignacio Valero, who has been very influential, I believe, for all of us, because he was so good at tailoring the experience to the different students, like to approach lighting from different perspectives depending on your skills or your personality.
Well, I think on daily basis, like the personal stories that I have or I heard from people, like they're interesting. It can be also like the limitations from each project, like those limitations are somehow very inspirational or liberating. Like you never know like how a solution that is trying to solve a limitation or a challenge can bring out like new things. And then people are my inspiration.
Yeah, and also simple things. Like light inspires me when I'm just looking out the window and seeing how light affects a room at a certain moment, or following artists or other designers that I admire. I continue to be inspired.
In my opinion, it's a deeply rooted subject in history, and it's going to take time. At the same time, we don't have that time. We can't afford like another 50 years to be where we are supposed to be, or we should be. So I think we as women, we should support each other more, be there for each other, and push ourselves to the front as much as we can. So I think initiatives like what you have started would support a lot. It's really valuable.
Yeah, it's a really great initiative, and it made us realize how we are not really represented on the keynote speakers or the directors of the offices. I hadn't really paid attention to that. And I believe it's a mix of reasons. Like some people might have personal reasons not to be so involved, which is totally acceptable. For some other people, maybe they didn't find the opportunity, or we don't have the role models, and this is creating a vicious cycle that hopefully we will break.
We'll get there. Be true to yourself and the world outside, and challenge the definitions and the norms.
I'd like to give a message to both men and women in lighting. I think we should value what women bring into the workplace, because we have different skills, maybe slightly different type of intelligence, like emotional intelligence.
I totally agree.
Or we are said to be caregivers, which is a very positive thing for your personal life, but it can also translate into a positive thing for the working environment because we care about the projects, we pay attention to detail in a slightly different way.